Brothers, listen carefully. When a woman walks away from you, it's not just her leaving, it's a test of your identity, your value, and your emotional discipline. And if she comes back after that, that's not your victory lap. It's another test. So here's what to do when she returns, not with open arms, but with open eyes and a steel heart. When she comes back, the biggest mistake a man can make is acting like her return is some kind of victory. You can't treat her return like it's the final scene of a love story. This isn't a movie, it's your life. And in real life, when someone walks away from you, they make a statement. They've decided, whether consciously or emotionally, that something about the relationship or about you no longer fits their desires. And that's a truth you have to carry, no matter how much time has passed or how many apologies come your way. So when she reappears, you don't run back in. You don't hand her instant access to your life, your emotions, or your presence. You slow everything down. You become a man of time, a man who no longer reacts emotionally, but responds with calculated silence and clear thinking. Because time is your greatest ally now. Why? Because time reveals everything. If she's coming back out of guilt, loneliness, or just because things didn't work out with whoever she ran to, that truth will slip through with time. But if she's coming back with real growth, with accountability, with a heart that's actually done the work, that too will become clear in time. And here's the thing, if you rush back, if you accept her instantly, if you drop your guard just because she's returned, you rob yourself of the opportunity to observe. You skip the test. You silence your instincts. You jump straight into fantasy. But men who understand their value don't get seduced by a second chance. They evaluate it. They sit with it. They make her earn back what she chose to throw away. Time also serves another purpose. It gives you clarity, because the moment she comes back, your emotions will start playing tricks on you. The memories will flood in, the good moments, the laughs, the comfort. Your ego might feel flattered. Your heart might feel relieved, but those emotions are temporary. They can cloud your judgment. So you need to create space, not just from her, but from your own emotions. Let things breathe. Let your logic catch up to your feelings. Remember, real strength doesn't always look like action. Sometimes strength looks like waiting, like saying, "Not yet," like observing without reacting, because anyone can take someone back out of weakness. But it takes a man with self-respect to let time tell the truth, and when you give time that power, you reclaim yours. When a woman leaves you, there's often a silent shift in the dynamic between you and her, a shift in power, respect, and emotional control. Whether you realized it or not at some point, you likely gave up control of the emotional frame. Maybe you began over-explaining yourself, chasing her validation, prioritizing her comfort over your principles, or molding yourself into the version of you she wanted rather than standing firm in who you truly are. And when that frame collapses, when you stop leading emotionally and mentally, a woman doesn't just notice, she feels it. She feels that you're no longer grounded. She feels that you're reacting to her instead of standing firm in your own standard. And once that happens, her attraction begins to die. So when she comes back after leaving, that's not the time to celebrate, that's the time to evaluate. One of the first things you must do is regain the frame. That doesn't mean being controlling. It doesn't mean dominating her or trying to dictate every move. It means becoming the center of gravity in your own life again. It means no longer orbiting around her emotions, her decisions, or her approval. You stop asking, what does she want from me now? And start asking, what do I want, and what standards must be met for her to even be part of my life again? This is where many men fail. They confuse her return with their validation. They think her coming back proves that they were right all along. But the truth is, if she left once, the foundation between you two has already been cracked. And now, if you invite her back without changing the emotional terms of the relationship, that same power imbalance will resurface, and this time even faster. She needs to feel that she's entering a new environment, not picking up where things left off. And that new environment is one where you control the pace, the access, and the energy. This is about psychological leadership, about being unshakable. When you regain the frame, she must see that her return does not automatically grant her emotional dominance. She can't cry her way back into your heart. She can't seduce her way back into your soul. She has to meet the man you've become, not the man who once bent backwards to keep her happy. And this man is calm, clear, and centered. He doesn't move to please. He moves with purpose. Maintaining the frame also means not reacting to her tests. And yes, she will test you. She might try to guilt trip you for being distant. She might accuse you of being cold. She might try to stir up drama just to see if you'll fall into the same old patterns. That's where most men cave. They get emotional, defensive, or worse. They try to explain themselves again, hoping she'll understand. But a man in control of the frame doesn't explain. He doesn't chase. He sets the tone. He decides when and how things move forward, if at all. If you give her back the frame, if you slip back into people pleasing, if you let her dictate the emotional rhythm of the relationship, you'll lose her again, only this time it will be permanent. Not because she didn't care, but because you didn't learn. Regaining and keeping the frame is not about punishing her, it's about protecting the integrity of your masculinity. It's about demonstrating, through every word and action, that your sense of self no longer depends on her presence. She can either meet you where you are or keep walking. Either way, the frame stays yours. When she comes back, the temptation is strong to listen to her words, the apologies, the regrets, the late-night texts saying she missed you, that she made a mistake, that no one compares to you. And while that might sound sweet to the heart, it's dangerous to the mind, because words can be emotional ban. They sound good in the moment, but they don't always reflect reality. What you need to focus on now is not what she says, but what she does. Her actions are the real language of her intent. Her behavior over time will tell you everything you need to know. A woman can say all the right things when she's emotional, when she feels lonely, or when life didn't go as planned after she left you. But why is she really back? What changed in her or in her life that brought her to your door again? It's easy to say, "I miss you," when no one else worked out. It's easy to say, "I realized your worth," when reality hits harder than expected. But if her actions don't show a consistent and deliberate effort to rebuild trust, to re-earn access to your time and energy, then all she's doing is talking. And talk is cheap when it's not followed by change. Start watching how she moves. Does she take responsibility for the way she left, or does she minimize it and expect everything to go back to normal? Is she patient with your caution, or does she get defensive when you don't give her instant emotional access? Is she consistent in showing up, respecting your time, investing in the connection again, or is she simply love, bombing you to get a reaction, to see if she still has emotional power over you? You must also pay attention to the small things. Is she aligning her behavior with your standards, Or is she testing boundaries to see what she can get away with? Is she supporting your purpose or distracting you from it? Is she truly working to build something new with you, or just trying to revive something old out of comfort? These details matter, because when someone is serious about you, they move differently, they prioritize you, they show effort not once, but consistently. They don't just say, "I've changed." They live the change. Many men fall back into emotional dependence the moment a woman returns and says all the right things. They want to believe her because it feels good to be wanted again. It strokes the ego. It soothes the wound. But believing words without testing actions is how you get hurt twice. And the second time, it's not just her fault, it's yours too. Because this time you knew better. Use this moment as a chance to observe, not to invest. Let her reveal herself through what she does when you're not giving her everything immediately. Let her show you who she is when she doesn't have full access to your heart. Because that's when people are most honest, when they have something to prove, not just something to say. If her actions show growth, accountability, patience, and real commitment, then you can start to engage from a place of strength, not desperation. But until then, words alone mean nothing. They're just noise. What matters now is the signal, and the signal is always in her behavior. When a woman comes back after leaving you, it's easy to feel a mix of emotions: bitterness, pride, maybe even a desire for revenge. Part of you might want to make her feel the pain she caused you, to show her what she lost, to remind her that you didn't need her. But here's the truth: revenge is a distraction. It's an emotional reaction that keeps you stuck in the past, tied to her decisions, defined by her absence. The goal is not to hurt her back. The goal is to reclaim yourself, and you can't do that by fighting old battles. You do that by standing in your power, unmoved, composed, and selective about who gets access to you now. But just because you choose not to get revenge doesn't mean you forget. Forgiveness, when it's real, is not about letting someone off the hook. It's about freeing yourself from the emotional weight of carrying resentment. You forgive not because she deserves it, but because you deserve peace. Yet peace doesn't mean you lower your guard. It doesn't mean you ignore what happened. It means you remember exactly what her absence taught you. You remember who you became when she was gone. You remember the pain, not to dwell in it, but to use it as fuel for your clarity and your standards going forward. A lot of men confuse forgiveness with softness. They think that by not holding a grudge, they're being weak, but it's the opposite. Weak men react. Strong men remember. Weak men get emotional and try to teach her a lesson. Strong men evolve and make sure that lesson never needs to be taught again. Because when you truly grow from the experience, your energy changes. You don't need to prove anything to her anymore. You don't need her acknowledgement. You've already won the moment you stopped needing her validation. But even with forgiveness, you must stay alert, because people who leave once can often leave again. If she walked away before when things got tough, when she got bored, or when someone else caught her eye, you need to recognize that potential pattern. You can't forget what that decision revealed. Maybe it exposed her impulsiveness, her lack of loyalty, or her inability to handle conflict. Maybe it revealed that she only valued you when things were easy. Those truths don't vanish just because she says she's sorry. They remain part of her history with you, and it's your responsibility to keep that history in mind. Not to punish her, but to protect yourself. This is about emotional discipline, about playing life on a long-term strategy, not short-term emotion. When she returns, your response should not be built on how much you missed her or how good it feels to see her again. Your response should be built on the lessons her absence carved into you. Did you grow, or did you just wait? Did you evolve into a man who doesn't tolerate disrespect? Or are you still the version of yourself who allowed it the first time? If you forgot everything the moment she showed back up, then you didn't learn. You just paused the cycle. So yes, don't seek revenge. Don't try to hurt her like she hurt you. But also don't hand her the same access she had before. Don't let nostalgia blind you. Keep your eyes wide open. Study her behavior, study your own boundaries, and remember, forgiveness is yours to give, but re-entry into your life is a privilege she must earn, and one that you must be wise enough to guard. When a woman leaves you and then comes back, one of the most important things you must do is confront the truth, not just about her, but about yourself. And that starts with being brutally honest about why she left in the first place. It's easy to blame her. It's easy to say she was disloyal, immature, selfish, or lacked patience. And maybe all those things are true. But relationships, even the ones that end painfully, don't usually collapse for no reason. There's always a root cause, and if you don't face that cause head on, you're setting yourself up to repeat the same pattern, whether it's with her or the next woman who walks into your life. This is the moment where a man separates himself from the emotional child who reacts and plays the victim. You have to look in the mirror and ask, what kind of man was I when she left? Were you too needy, always seeking validation from her? Did you lose your purpose and make her the center of your world? Were you inconsistent with your boundaries, too forgiving, too available, too soft? Or were you cold, distant, emotionally unavailable, always keeping her guessing, and never letting her feel emotionally safe with you? These are hard questions, but they're necessary because it's not about blaming yourself, it's about owning your part with dignity. That's how you grow. That's how you evolve. That's how you make sure that next time you don't become a version of yourself that someone feels comfortable walking away from. And once you understand your part, you also have to understand hers. Why did she leave? Was it impulsive, emotionally driven, or calculated? Was she lured by the attention of someone else? Did she leave at the first sign of difficulty instead of choosing to work through it with you? Did she test your value by walking away to see if you'd chase? These details matter because a woman who left to explore her options, or one who fled instead of resolving conflict, is telling you something deep about how she views commitment and emotional resilience. She's telling you that in her world, leaving is easier than building. And if that's the case, then no apology on earth changes that core trait in her. You need to see her clearly, not through the lens of desire or memory, but through the clarity of truth. The hardest part about this self-evaluation is detaching your ego from the outcome. Because when someone leaves us, especially someone we cared for, the ego often kicks in and tries to rewrite the story. It wants to believe she didn't know what she had. It wants to believe you were always the right man, and she just made a mistake. But if you don't investigate your own behavior, you're letting pride shield you from growth. And worse, you're ignoring the very behaviors that made you vulnerable to this dynamic in the first place. So take a full inventory. Where were your weaknesses? Where were your blind spots? What version of yourself were you showing up as? One rooted in confidence and purpose, or one operating from fear of losing her? The version of you that emerged after she left might be stronger, sharper, more grounded, but you need to acknowledge the version of you she originally walked away from. Because if you bring that man back into the relationship, nothing changes, and you'll lose her again, or worse, lose yourself in the process. You don't need to obsess over the past, but you do need to learn from it with ruthless honesty, because without that clarity, her return becomes nothing more than a repeat of a lesson you refused to learn the first time. And life, relationships, and heartbreak all have a way of repeating themselves until the lesson is fully absorbed. When she comes back after leaving you, your biggest challenge won't be dealing with her. It will be dealing with yourself. The battle isn't external, it's internal. You'll be pulled between two forces: your emotions, which are tied to nostalgia, comfort, and desire, and your logic, which knows that pain doesn't just disappear because someone said, "I'm sorry." Your emotional side will remember the way she made you feel, the late night conversations, the intimacy, the laughter. It will crave what you lost. But your logical side, if it's sharp and disciplined, will remember the silence, the confusion, the abandonment, and the emotional toll it took when she walked away. And now, the real test is which side you will listen to. This is where emotional control becomes your most powerful asset. Without it, you'll fall straight back into the emotional roller coaster you barely escaped from. Without it, you'll mistake comfort for compatibility and presence for peace. You'll confuse her return with resolution, thinking that the act of coming back somehow heals the wound, but it doesn't. Healing doesn't come from her presence. It comes from your own discipline, from your ability to say, "I feel something for you, but I don't need you to feel whole." That level of emotional detachment is where true masculine strength begins, because real strength isn't about shutting off your emotions. It's about being able to feel deeply, but act wisely. It's about not letting your heart run ahead of your standards. When she returns, you need to observe how you react. Do you light up instantly, forget the pain, and start fantasizing about the future again? Or do you remain grounded, asking yourself, what's changed and why now? A man in control of his emotions doesn't suppress them. He filters them through discipline. He doesn't let the rush of affection or the memory of intimacy override the facts. He sits with the storm of feelings and responds with calm, calculated clarity. You also need to be aware of how your ego can sabotage your control. Sometimes it's not even her that you want. It's the idea of being wanted again. It's the sense of winning, of validation, of proving that you were the better choice all along. But that's ego, that's not love, that's not respect. That's your insecurity dressing up as power. And if you let that ego run wild, you'll let her back in for the wrong reasons, and you'll tie your value to someone else's approval. That's emotional slavery, and you weren't built for that. Emotional control also means being able to walk away if things don't align anymore. It means not being afraid of loneliness. It means knowing that just because someone comes back doesn't mean they still deserve a seat at your table. You are not obligated to revisit pain just because it returns with a smile. You are not required to soften your standards just because she's changed her mind. Sometimes the test is not whether you can win her back, but whether you can resist being pulled back into something that no longer fits who you've become. Control yourself, and you control the situation. Lose yourself in emotions, and you surrender all your progress. Every moment you spend with her now must come from a place of power, not weakness. A man who is emotionally grounded doesn't chase clarity. He creates it. He doesn't ask, "Do you still love me?" He asks, "Do your actions now align with what I accept in my life?" And if the answer is no, he doesn't need to argue or explain. He just moves forward without rage, without drama, because he's already won the moment he chose control over chaos. So if she comes back after leaving you, don't rush, don't crumble, and don't let emotion blind you. Stand firm in who you've become, grounded in the lessons her absence taught you. Observe, assess, and move with calm, unwavering clarity. You are no longer the man she walked away from. You are wiser, sharper, and more self-aware. And now, whether she stays or goes again, no longer defines you. What defines you is how you handle her return, with strength, discipline, and the unshakable knowing that your value was never dependent on her presence.